Ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring and fighting out of the red corner, Dennis Karmazyn.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to our second exhibition bout of the night. And we start off with Dennis Karmazyn out of Chantilly MMA.
Yeah, excited to have Chantilly here, MMA on our card here. They got some great coaches there. I've been corresponding with a couple of them from there regarding our upcoming Cagezilla 84, April 26th. Make sure you guys are tuning in for that. And they're bringing in one of their young up-and-coming athletes, Dennis Karmazyn, fighting in the 150-pound weight class, 5'9", coming out of Chantilly MMA. And another exhibition here to put on our card. He's got the Mayan King in his corner, Wilson Melgar, our co-main event here coming up on Cagezilla 84. And so if he's training with the Mayan King, I know he's in good hands.
Absolutely the case, and what an ominous way to come out to the Gregorian chanting. He's bringing that orthodoxy to the table here. We're going to see exactly what kind of mark he will make in his debut for TCB.
Yeah, this music gets you going.
Does it? It's kind of putting me to sleep.
It brings out the warrior mindset. Come on.
Chris's warrior mindset is snoring right now.
And now making his way to the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, it's Ben Thomas.
All right, well, this is going to be a very different flavor coming to the ring. Ben Thomas out of Vital Combat Team. Also in this upped age bracket here. While we did see 12 to 15, we're now seeing the 16 to 17 age bracket. So we're going to get probably the same level of ferocity out of these fighters, but maybe a little bit more refinement alongside it. Of course, Vital Combat Team Chantilly MMA, they raise excellent technical fighters. And so I do want to see that showcased here out of this 5'9" fighter.
Yeah, Vital Combat Team under expert coach Dave Reeves. Another gentleman I'm talking with about some of his MMA guys coming in for Cagezilla 84, and he's got Ben Thomas here coming in his first fight against Denny's, also his first fight. So really these young guys coming in here, getting experience in really the best place that they could probably get experience, right? They're not fighting in a high school gym. They're not fighting in some backyard somewhere. They're coming to the top level venue where many multi-time champions come, and they're getting their experience here. What a good experience for them.
And you can see over here as Dennis Karmazyn puts on the headgear. Once again, this is going to be about showcasing skills, demonstrating what tools they're going to be bringing to TCB as they progress in their careers. Right now, we don't want to see too much damage coming out, but honestly, Jacob Schill Jr. taking that sock across the face and doing a lot to Nate Connolly in kind means that you don't want to miss the action.
Yeah, we're if last fight was anything to do with this fight, I mean, these young guys come out guns blazing, and they don't have a stop button.
Well, we already know what kind of fighters Disciple puts out, so this should be a war.
Yeah.
We haven't seen as much, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brent, we haven't seen as much in the Muay Thai realm from Chantilly, so I'm excited to see what they're bringing to the table too.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well. Yeah, Chantilly MMA, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how often they compete in TCB, but great to see them here.
Yeah, we've seen them definitely in Cagezilla, but this may be, if not the first, one of the first fighters that I've ever seen in TCB out of Chantilly. So good luck to him. Let's see what he's got.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is 3 1.5-minute rounds in the TCB Junior Muay Thai 150-pound division, and is brought to you by Southland Insulators. Insulation expertise you can count on. Our referee in charge of the action for this bout is Ben Lipal. And now introducing our fighters. First, fighting out of the red corner, he stands 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighed in at 149 pounds. Fighting out of Chantilly MMA, it's 17-year-old Dennis Karmazyn. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighed in at 149 pounds. Fighting out of the Vital Combat Team, it's Ben Thomas! Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is 3 1.5-minute rounds in the Junior Muay Thai 150-pound division, and it's brought to you by Southland Insulators. Insulation expertise you can count on.
All right.
Wonderful stuff coming out of our ring announcer in training. Although he's definitely grown those wings, set in full flight right now. Incredible stuff. Honestly, Chris, maybe we should just have you on the sidelines this whole time. I'm liking the jokes you're cracking.
I'm down.
We're getting the walkouts coming.
Here we go, round 1.
Taking a page from my mentor, Kevin Schaefer's book. He was always giving me a hard time on the microphone, so I'm happy to do it in his absence.
Close chance to start us off between these two fighters, and already you could see, just in this jump up of age bracket, how much more refinement there is in these two fighters. They're really just trying to negotiate the blocks and guards for damage, and already we're seeing some really good, very energetic roundhouse kicks from that trailing leg of Dennis Karmazyn.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot more composure from these guys. They're feeling it out. They're using some of their different tools, teep kicks, straight punches.
Ooh.
Now they're mixing in the clinch and the knee work. And, yeah, using their full gamut of tools here, while Ben here loses his headgear. Someone might have to throw a piece of tape on there.
Yeah, we're going to see exactly what happens with that, as didn't look very well secured just diving into that clinch. What I will note here as well is that when you do get into clinch scenarios coming through in this age bracket, it's a lot more strategic. This was because Dennis Karmazyn saw a solid opening, decided to go for the dive in after opening with good shots, and then a roundhouse kick that once again caromed off the dome of Ben Thomas. So this is where you want to see it in a regular TCB bout without the headgear. It isn't necessarily just about taking as much damage as you can. And once again, we are moving into that clinch scenario here. And I think that one more time, Karmazyn is coming out on top, getting a little bit more in the way of knees.
So we talked about this at the beginning of the fight coming out of Chantilly and wondering what they would have. It looks like, for his age especially, really polished Muay Thai fighter. Really nice clinch work, really nice knees and outside leg kicks on the separations. Really polished fighter for his age, definitely.
Yeah, Dennis is scoring both from the outside and from the inside.
Absolutely.
Securing a nice clinch there. And like you say, looking really polished.
And, of course, we aren't really talking about winners or losers here, but what I will say is kind of becoming a hole in Ben Thomas's game plan is that he's just not doing a whole lot when it comes to the clinch. He's trying to answer knee to knee, but I'm not seeing any work out of his arms to either create separation or bring in Dennis Karmazyn to prevent some shots from coming through. That being said, once we do get to this kind of rough and tumble where it's not a clinch, but people are shoulder to shoulder, we are getting good shots past the guard of the red corner, and so that could be something that this representative of Vital Combat team will lean on for the second round.
Yeah, good opening round for these young bucks, and you know, cutting their teeth here, getting some experience, and their first fight for both guys, I thought they showed great composure, and their coaches must be proud of them getting in here into the big TCB arena and making it happen. And let's see what they come out here with in the second and third round.
Absolutely, a lot to still be worked on, of course, but as it currently stands, I think that what we're seeing here is two fighters who have kind of an agenda for them. They want to show the things that they've been learning class after class. Maybe it's just for as basic of a reason that they don't want to get yelled at by their coaches, but overall, this is a great testament to just how solid the talent pool is here in Virginia itself.
Yeah, exactly. These young kids getting good experience and really looking seasoned for their young age and experience level.
Ben Lepov going to just polish off the gloves here, get us ready for the second round. And I do want to see what the opening philosophy out of particularly Ben Thomas is going to be. Are they going to continue to try to play at range? Do they maybe want to try to be a bit more on the initiatory side when it comes to diving into clinches and things like that? Or are they going to let Dennis Karmazyn walk over them right now? Seeing really good high shoulders for solid guard coming out of the blue corner. And the response from Dennis is actually quite a bit in the way of teep kicks. We're shifting into a little bit more of a stance agnostic kind of fight. In fact, Ben Thomas is kind of bringing those legs shoulder width apart, just trying to kick with both and doing a good job of getting the legs of the red corner as well.
Yeah, and one thing I'm noticing from both guys too is, that you don't always even see from more experienced guys is they're checking leg kicks.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and they're bringing that shin up and going shin to shin with some of those leg kicks, not just absorbing them. And that's a sign of an experienced fighter. If you're checking those leg kicks instead of absorbing them.
And look at the composure as we are going to come to a quick stoppage here as that headgear is still giving us woes. Dennis Karmazyn just broke out of a clinch, getting the fadeaway shots while doing so. That's not something you see even out of some of the higher level fighters here in TCB, where the clinch is kind of the end of the fight for them. They're waiting for the breakup from the referee. They aren't looking for ways to get damage done once it gets to a standstill. But Dennis immediately sees an opening, sees a way to wrench those shoulders back, and in kind wind up for another vicious kick.
Yeah, or knee. Yeah, he's looking really great with those knees as well.
And so overall, very impressed with both of these fighters. There's that piece of tape you're talking about,
Hey.
making Ben Thomas look like he's coming out of a trauma ward. But luckily, this is the kind of thing you need to do to prevent anybody from going to the trauma ward. And so hopefully this will be the end of our helmet problems, and we will be able to get the rest of the fight underway nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of saw it right from the start. I was like, somebody needs to throw a piece of tape on that. And sure enough, here we go.
All right, well, as we get out of this stoppage, it's another opening where people are reset back to neutral, and this is really my favorite times for fights. It's almost kind of like a chess match. How are they going to start this? Are they going to begin to check with those leg kicks? Someone going to crash guard? Someone going to get in there deep? What is going to be the call, and how are responses going to come through from these fighters? How heads up are they still halfway through this fight already?
Yeah, one thing I like about these guys is they've been fighting both at range and on the inside as well. Oh, no.
Well,
Dennis must have just a either that headgear is gonna have trouble, or Dennis got a death grip for a clinch because he keeps pulling that headgear off.
I think that what we're going to need to see is we got it already around the equator of the helmet. We now need to do it around the prime meridian, so we've got to do it under the chin. Make it look like a bike helmet.
I think we blame Ben Lipoff's taping ability on that one.
Well, now they're having to pull the tape off. The tape they just put on, and then redo it, I guess.
Maybe just stick some tape on the ears, and then you just seal it from the inside,
Or some duct tape. Let's use duct tape.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I'm just imagining Pev wheeling his way over to the ring with a roll of duct tape. This is a good breathing space, though. Of course, one of the big things that I love to see people get tested on is their conditioning in these fights. That's kind of out the window with how much downtime we have in the middle of the second round. But what this does give us is a little bit of a renewed angle by which to continue the fight.
Yeah, I was going to say a new headgear might be the best option. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
There we go. The way they had that thing taped, that was going to cut off circulation to his brain. It was so tight.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the better answer. It looks like they're going to just tape it for insurance as well.
Love it. Red corner's over here just chilling, taking a break.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I like that responsibility as well. It's something that you see out of a lot of fighters who are more on that analytical side. This is your downtime. Take as much of a breather as you can, even if it means maybe not showboating to the crowd, not playing to anybody. You just want to get back in there and show what you have when it actually comes to the fight itself. And we get a blazing restart here with Dennis Karmazyn trying to do things with that leading arm, spinning back kick, not going to find anything. And actually, Ben Thomas will use that as initiation for a clinch of his own. That being said, look at the shoulder control that we're getting out of Dennis. Every time we get into a clinch, it's his arms going over the top of Ben Thomas's, and that's really preventing any shots from coming through from the blue corner.
So the one thing that I'm noticing is our guy out of the and separation there by Ben Lipoff, he's very square in his stance.
Oh, yeah.
And where the red corner is more of a bladed stance and able to generate some power when he swings those hips around with that right kick.
And it also is something that is going to prevent the blue corner and Ben Thomas from really checking those leg kicks to the same degree that we're seeing out of the red corner.
Exactly.
Little confusion there at the end of the round. Come on, ref, you got to break them up. They were going to keep fighting.
Why are we ragging on Ben Lipoff so much today, guys? All right, well, here in the exhibition bout, so far we've gotten quite the exhibit. Loving what these two fighters are bringing to the table. And like I said, in a lot of cases, these young fighters that are starting out and making their debut here in TCB, they're very much ciphers, representations of what their gym's philosophy is, because they're blank slates being built up in a way where maybe they haven't fully developed their own style yet. So what is each individual gym offering, and what in turn might that reflect for some of the bigger fights that are coming down the pipeline with people like Chantilly MMA and Vital Combat being a part of them?
Yeah, two great gyms, Vital Combat and Chantilly MMA, going at it, bringing their youth to the front lines and letting them get some great experience. What a great exhibition match here to start off TCB here in our second fight.
And hopefully we will be able to get an uninterrupted third round here, as I do want to see what happens throughout the whole arc of a single round, especially as these two fighters are getting a little bit more tired. Here's the bell to start us off one final time. A teep kick to buy space. Karmazyn looking for a new analysis. Good catch on the kick. Getting a little bit sluggish as we get deeper into this one. Ben Thomas has got to be careful, as opening up like that just kind of shows some of the holes in a game plan that can be exploited by someone as analytical as Karmazyn is.
Yeah, both guys coming out with some good energy. They shouldn't be too tired. They've been getting a lot of rest here between all the breaks, but yeah, looking great here to start off. Good energy starting off this third round.
One thing I like is that we're getting very different textures regarding these clinches as well. And I got to note that jumping knee that Ben Thomas was trying to go for to crash past guard. Dennis able to keep it together, though. Now advancing, using those knees as a spacing maneuver as we get back towards a point in which the red side has control over a cornered Ben Thomas. There's a breaker from Ben Lipov immediately. Another teep kick. And it seems like right now Karmazyn is falling into a very good, very rock-solid flow chart.
Yeah, he's coming forward like a bulldozer.
Almost getting an ashitori there. You don't see that too often in the realm of Muay Thai.
Yeah,
almost going for a leg pick.
Saw him catch that leg there. I was like, all right.
One thing I like is that Ben Thomas has been adapting the stance a little bit. We were talking about how maybe they're a little bit too squared up, a little bit too shoulder to shoulder. Right now, that blading is coming through, and while that isn't necessarily leading to him using that right leg for a ton, it does mean he is checking those leg kicks a lot better right now while keeping a very good guard. And honestly, this time around, while Karmazyn is definitely driving the fight, what I'm seeing out of Ben Thomas is someone who is just as analytical as his opponent, working to implement that in this time in the sun.
And Chris, that might be just because those leg kicks are starting to be effective. You know,
yeah.
It might not be a calculated decision on his part. Once you get kicked in the leg enough times, you know, you're gonna try to protect it. So maybe that's what we're looking at now. But really,
that was nice. I heard a smack. He tried to say it hit the elbow, but I thought it got under that elbow.
Yeah, I think so
too. Good response from Ben Thomas, though, but definitely near the end there. I think that it was the blue corner representing a little bit more damage, but credit to both of these guys for going the full 3 rounds and showing so much in the way of excellence. Great representative of both of these gyms, as well as what TCB has to offer.
Yeah, both guys look really good. I was really impressed with how Ben Thomas was checking those leg kicks, you know, showing some experience beyond his actual experience level. And anybody who throws spinning techniques, man, I'm a fan of that. So yeah. Dennis was throwing some spinning back kicks in that fight. And
landing them.
Yeah, yep. That
Right.
last one put him down.
Yep.
Yeah, great stuff from both of these young guys.
As both of them are now recovering, getting those gloves off, ready to have their arms raised in the middle of the ring. I wanted to give a reminder to everybody, we are going to go to a quick intermission after these fights, but we will be back with our mainline 7 matches of the night, Brent. Which one of these are you most excited for, you think?
Oh, man. There's a lot of them, and they're all good. Main event's really nice. Co-main. I got to lean towards my guy. I'm going to be cornering him. So I think Ashraf versus Noah Azumi is going to be a heck of a fight. Make sure you guys don't blink on that one. Ashraf has been on a terror. And looking to continue that. So make sure you guys are watching for fight number 6 here tonight. I am leaning towards that one.
Yeah, as you should, you know. Of course, standing out for your guy there from Mike Hito. Another great gym with a lot of great representatives, and that's really the thing that I think is best emphasized in these showcase fights. Just so many different contenders now here in the Virginia scene, in the East Coast scene. This is where Thai Championship Boxing really shines. Let's throw it over to our wonderful ring announcer to make this official.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is an exhibition fight, so we do not declare winners or losers, but let's give a big round of applause to 17-year-old Dennis Karmazyn and 16-year-old Ben Thomas.
Congratulations once again to both of these fighters. We'll see you guys soon for our